Darwin Platform Group of Companies is one of the fastest growing diversified Indian conglomerates with global footprints. It is setting up offices globally and tying up with companies across the globe for multiple sectors. The company has ventured into real estate and construction, stockbroking and finance, arms and ammunition, mining, airlines and many other sectors.
In today's rapidly evolving business environment, when risk is omnipresent, managing risks is no longer just about ticking a few boxes. Businesses need to maintain a panoramic view of risks to stay ahead of the curve. Join us to explore how organizations can rethink risk to unlock new possibilities and become fit for future. At PwC presents De-Risking the Future in collaboration with Business Today.
Hello and welcome. You all are watching Business Today Television, and this is the first edition of Market Today in 2024. I'm Sakshi Batra, and with me is Shail Bhatnagar. And with this, I welcome you all into the new year with warm wishes. And here's hoping that the year turns out to be a super prosperous, super successful, and profitable year for all our viewers of Market Today. Well, as we look back, 2023 was definitely a great year for investors in hindsight. Despite all the roller coaster rides that we've seen, despite all the headwinds, the challenges the markets faced, both on the geopolitical front, the economic front as well. But despite that, resilience is what Indian markets have displayed to the core, and investors have been left richer by 82 lakh crore rupees with the gains of 20% on the benchmark indices as well. So definitely positive year. But what will happen in 2024? Will it turn out to be another year of fabulous returns for all our viewers and all the investors of stock markets again? We will tell you all of it in this special edition. But first up, the top headlines this hour. Indian stocks at record highs welcome 2024 with a strong backing of value buying and momentum chasing. The road from now on will be determined by third quarter earnings to be released shortly. Blue chips may outperform others. Pending markets remain in place as traders punt one sector higher after another. Low ticket, high beta stocks will remain in the limelight. Good morning, all our viewers, and good morning to you, Shail, and a happy new year to you too. And what a fantastic journey we've had on Market Today so far. And here's hoping for even better Market Today shows going forward from here. Our effort has only been to strive for the better for all our viewers when it comes to more returns and better strategies when it comes to markets.
A very good morning to you, Sakshi. Welcome back, and a very happy 2024 to you, everyone at Market Today, as also to thousands of viewers who are now joining us on this frigid January morning, at least in New Delhi. The sky is clear as far as the equity markets are concerned in India, Sakshi. And one thing I'd like to point out, we are the only market working today. Everything across Asia is closed. Of course, Wall Street and Europe and large parts of Asia are also enjoying this January 1st holiday. But as they say, Bharat Bhagya Vidhata, हम ही लोग काम कर रहे हैं और हम ही भाग्य बनाएंगे अपना. With that background in mind, let's look at the markets. Yes, 2024 has been a fabulous year, even on the index level. Forget stocks. Major indices have risen anywhere between 18%, which is the Nifty, to about 47%, 45% on the mid cap and the small cap respectively. The Bank Nifty is the only tepid one, up about 10-12% for 2023. But 2024 promises to be a volatile year to begin with. January is most likely to be a consolidating kind of a move for two reasons. One, the trend from now on will be determined by how quarterly earnings come out, and they'll be out fairly soon. We'll be setting the tone with IT stocks because TCS, Infosys, HCL Tech, Wipro, and their ilk are the first of the block. What's really more interesting to find out is that over the last 2 months, Sakshi, we've seen a fabulous rally coming into the Nifty. If you look at how the Nifty is poised, it rose about 14 percentage points in November and December out of the total 18 that it tallied for 2023. So the market for the short term is skewed, and given a mild disappointment if it comes via earnings, you'll see decent amount of profit booking coming. We've had a fantastic run up. There is no cause for complaint. 21,730 as far as the index is concerned on the charts, and 22,000 was a near term target, which, you know, if you just round off the numbers, 21,800 and 22,000, there is not much of a difference. So psychologically we have achieved, technically we've achieved, and fundamentally we seem to be right on target. Beyond this, much will determine about what the earnings will come up. If you look at the composition of the Nifty, Sakshi, 8 Nifty stocks hit record highs on Friday. You know, the names are pretty well known: Tata Consumer, Tata Motors, the likes of a few public sector companies. And apart from that, you've had a very strong momentum in the F&O space also. About 18 stocks within the F&O space hit record highs. As far as today is concerned, we look at auto stocks, which have been trending fairly sharply because volume sales for the month of December will be coming in, and the fact that Tata Motors, Bajaj Auto, Mahindra and Mahindra are at record highs goes on to prove that the moment is on that side. Apart from that, Hero Motors, Exide, you know, there is a crisis of plenty, as I have been saying over the last 1 month or so about the Nifty. So as far as I am concerned, it's going to be a sideways to a consolidating zone on the Nifty. As it is, volumes will be less, but let's see. Sakshi.
Yes, let's see. And of course, it'll be our turn to see whether the markets for the Nifty bulls will hope to break the January jinx, because, you know, I was looking at the historical data also, Shell. 11 of the last 17 January months, if we see and plots the charts, they've delivered negative returns. Average return in January is negative 2.5% in the last 5 years or so. If we look at last 10 January months, 7 of the last 10 January months have actually seen the Nifty deliver negative returns. So this time I'm wearing green purposely so that the Nifty bulls listen to me, and this time around break that jinx this time. But, you know, let's also talk about the Nifty Bank then, Shell. And, you know, of course, it snapped a 3-day winning streak on Friday, but ended the week with gains of close to 2%. A strong surge finally was seen in the index in the month of December. It also saw the closing the year with gains of 12%, although it underperformed the Nifty for most part of the year. But the way it has come back in December, hopes are high that it will take the lead in the new year.
Again, Sakshi, absolutely right. As you've said very correctly, 12% in the month in 2023, that's 1% a month, and that's how markets work. But the Bank Nifty traditionally has been a higher beta, high outperformer as far as the Nifty is concerned. So I am of the view that you'll see some continued outperformance on the Bank Nifty, and that's primarily driven by HDFC Bank, which is the highest weighted counter as far as the Bank Nifty is concerned, somewhere like 30-33%. So the short-term charts on the Bank Nifty also looked stretched a bit. The technicals look a bit on the higher side. That's mainly because in the month of December, Bank Nifty rose about 8.6%. And in the month of November, about 3.8%, all put together 13%. So the 2023 tally of Bank Nifty, which is 13%, came in the last 2 months of the past financial year. Again, it looks like the charts appear overstretched, but it's HDFC Bank, Sakshi, which is doing a great job, and it started doing a great job fairly shortly. In the month of December, it rose 9.7%, and in the month of November, 5.6. So 9 plus 4, 14. So roughly, you should see about 17% rally on HDFC Bank came in November and December, and overall, it's actually up just 4% in 2023. So it's the lag which HDFC Bank is trying to overcome, and that should help the Bank Nifty in the coming weeks to months. But the fact is that the medium term charts as well as the short term charts are a bit stretched. So I would imagine that it will take a breather. Much will depend upon earnings, much will depend upon how HDFC Bank performs in the coming few points. But the fact remains that the 50,000 point target as far as Bank Nifty is concerned remains in place for the medium to long term. But at the moment at 48,300, there is nothing much to complain about, Sakshi. We've done fabulously well in November and December. It's like a great party that has happened,
Yeah.
and you've had all sorts of cuisine. एक आध हफ्ता 10-15 दिन थोड़ा दाल खिचड़ी, हल्का घी, थोड़ा रायता खा पी लेते हैं. बहुत पार्टी करी 2 महीने, जरा थोड़ा इत्मीनान देते.
What a fantastic analogy right there, Shail, of course, and that's how simply that you've explained to all our viewers how markets have performed in the year 2023, partied hard, but when they got, Delhi belly, that's when, the consolidation started. But
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
see how it goes on from here. Talk to us about the F&O cues, Shell. A lot of traders are watching out, for what cues you
Yes.
will share on the first day of the new year. How should they be prepared for the markets?
So, Sakshi, 2 points I'd like to make. Cash stocks will remain in focus simply because that's where the momentum is. Your headline said it absolutely right. Low ticket, high beta will remain the focus of the market. As far as F&O is concerned, Sakshi, I'll focus on 2 or 3 stocks where volumes are substantial despite the year end, and of course there is a tailwind when it comes to the sectoral play. So again, it will be Exide batteries. You've seen a fairly decent jump in daily traded volumes. The counter, of course, is at a record high, 3.2% higher. So you have the tailwind of the auto and the auto ancillary space, plus a very sharp 5% increase in open interest. So this momentum most likely will be chased on the long side. Let's see what happens, given the fact that over the next one day or so, you will have auto numbers coming in, so that tailwind will also get stronger. Apart from that, Motherson Sumi. Sakshi, this is a stock to watch out. This is India's second largest auto ancillary, and it has done nothing over the last 2-3 years, if you ask me. It rose fairly substantially, 4.4% higher, 103 rupees as far as the futures markets are concerned, and a huge rise in open interest to the extent of 22%. So these are the 2 stocks that I'm looking at: Motherson Sumi and Exide. Sakshi.
All right, we will keep an eye out on these 2 auto ancillary names, Exide and Motherson Sumi, and of course, along with that, all the auto names that will be coming out with their, sales figures for the previous month today, all through the day. So we will continue to brief you about that through the trading session. Let's also look at how the global setup is, like how Shell pointed out. Nearly all of Asian markets are shut this morning on account of the New Year holiday. On Friday night, the US markets fell slightly, but saw a strong rally towards the end of the year. S&P 500 ended 2023 with gains of 24%. It eked out 9 straight weekly advance, the best since 2004. Nasdaq Composite had its best year since 2020, led by the AI mania, and of course the Dow Jones also ending the year with gains of 13.7% and notched a new closing record as well. Despite that, what we have seen is that the gift nifty is indicating some kind of slowish start or a muted start to the day. Let's also talk about the flows. Of course, FIIs bought shares worth 1459 odd crore rupees. Domestic investors purchased 554 odd crore rupees on December 29. This is as per the data that we have received. And let's see how the FII flows also shape up this trading action and of course the rest of the new year as well. We will be waiting for our guest to join in very, very shortly. But let me also highlight some of the stocks that we will be watching out for today. Alchem Laboratories is going to be in focus. Its arm is St. Louis, USA manufacturing unit for $7.9 million to New Mill Capital Holdings. Then Dr. Reddy's is going to be in focus. It's going to be acquiring 6.4% stake in Edity Therapeutics for $2 million. Acquisition spree going on. Grasim commissioned additional 1.2 lakh tons annual capacity of advanced materials and manufacturing at Bharuch in Gujarat, positive for the company. Then we have Godrej Properties. It's acquired 4 acres of land parcel with a developable potential of about zero point 0.7 million square feet saleable area in Bengaluru. So that's going to be another positive. We also have Bandhan Bank that's transferred housing finance NPA portfolio, having days past due of 180 days and outstanding 719 crores for a consideration amount of 289 crores. So that's going to be in focus again. GMR Power, it's extending corporate guarantee in favor of IREDA for issuing counter guarantee in favor of a scheduled commercial bank for the benefit of the 3 SPVs of GMR Smart Electricity. Again, you have to keep an eye out on this stock too. But I think our guest is now with us. So we are awaiting the joining of Mr. Deven Choksi, MD of DR Choksi Finserv Private Limited, who's now with us. Very good morning and welcome to you, Mr. Choksi. Happy New Year to you. What a pleasure to host you on day one of the new year. And of course, this is on purpose that we've invited you because, you're someone who will give us the sanest advice to all the people who have been partying hard in the markets in the last half of the 2023. But what is the way forward is something that you will tell them.
Good morning, Sakshi, and good morning, Shail. It's always happy to be with you on the show. And this is something which I always like. I think the way in which I think you present the information to investors. I always believe that I think this is where probably I think the quality makes a difference. Keep continuing this good job. Well, I think 2024 starting with a good amount of promise, and I believe that I think this promise is going to be I think on a higher side as far as the market outcome is concerned. We are basically seeing the opportunities in various areas in various businesses in 2024. Index level may be anything, but more importantly, some of the large companies which are having the growth program in place, they are likely to show the signs of doubling from the current levels in next 3.5 to 4 years time, which would include some of the larger banks like HDFC Bank, some of the largest companies like Reliance, and even for that matter, I think some of the companies which are there in the banking, in the financial sector, where we believe that I think the growth program going forward is going to be, I think, much bigger, much larger. And that is where probably I think this 2024 year would be exciting. Also, the fact that the disruptions are at the highest level in the economy, and I think it is likely to go for further. One theme that we basically believe is going to be the green hydrogen. And green hydrogen, not alone, I think, the production of hydrogen, but more importantly, the disruption that it creates out of production of hydrogen, wherein the cost of electricity for producing the green hydrogen would significantly come down than what it is currently. And as a result of which, I think this is going to have a game changer effect in the books of those companies which are consuming higher amount of electricity, be it refining companies, be it metal commodity companies,
Right, sir.
for that matter, any engineering companies. So we feel that I think this is one thing which could possibly create, I think, major amount of buzz going forward. And 2024 could be a catalyst year for the same.
Okay. So Reliance and HDFC Bank is what Devan Bhai is looking at. Namaskar, very good morning to you, Devan Bhai. As Sakshi spoke truly from her heart, it is such a pleasure to welcome you on the first day of 2024. And not only do you bring sanity and calmness to the markets at a time when there is pain all around. But this sanity and calmness is also required when you have very, very frothy markets, just as we are dealing with now. So, as you point out, it's fine. Reliance and HDFC Bank is what you see outperforming in the medium to long term. So, we are also at the threshold of the third quarter earnings beginning this week. What are the sectors you think that will outperform secularly? Is it metals? Is it autos? And where do you think is overvaluation? Where do you think investors are just paying too much for too little?
Well, I guess I think Shail, first and foremost, happy new year to you as well, and always pleasure to be on your show. Uh, I think the importantly in this particular period, we are seeing some of the challenges also at the same time. In the third quarter results, most of the companies have actually, I think, factored not only the third quarter results, but also I think 24-25 financial years largely. What I'm trying to say is that the valuation wise, if you see in this quarter, many of the mid cap, small cap companies have already actually discounted far more in advance, more than 1.5 year of earnings. And that is where probably I think one would be a little bit more careful at this point of time, not to get trapped into the euphoric condition. That is the whole point I think which I would like to put across. Not that I'm against I think the fundamental strength of the economy and the corporate earnings, but the fact is that I think the valuation, if they have reached ahead of time, then quite possible that we might see some amount of corrections in the market in those companies where the valuations have picked out. Largely also because of the fact that many of the new companies are coming in for the listing. And that is where I think you're likely to see that some of the sharp movers would find profit taking. Money would get shifted into the newer companies which are coming up with IPOs. And they are, some of them are promising companies and they have been giving good amount of returns to the investors. So certainly investors would like to buy into the IPO oriented companies more often than otherwise. Given that situation, I believe that I think the one will have to operate with good amount of care. But more importantly, the sectors which you refer to or alluded to, I would think that the importantly this particular quarter we are likely to see the growth in some of the commodity companies, particularly the metal commodity companies. On one side, we have had the good amount of I think correction in the crude oil prices, so energy input cost is down. On the other side, the steady prices of the finished product, particularly in the ferrous and non-ferrous metals, and the copper included, I guess I think is going to result into higher amount of I think earning growth for these companies. Similarly, the growth is being seen happening in the areas of some of the large engineering R&D companies where they are having sustained inflow of new orders and at the same time I think smarter execution in this particular period, unlike their big daddy peers, I think in the large caps. I think those companies in the mid tier and the large, smaller than the large caps companies, as I would call them as, likes of LTTS, likes of LTIM or Science Technologies, Tata Alexis, Tata Technology. Those kind of companies are actually showing good amount of growth orientation going forward. So we feel that I think this kind of businesses could show relatively better performance. Last but not the least, I guess I think we have had the fantastic time for the auto and auto ancillary companies in the last quarter. I believe that these companies are likely to show relatively higher amount of growth and the performance in this quarter and will continue here after as well. So selective approach, though I think sectorally, I think one would not like to get too much lean into one particular sector, but individual companies within respective sectors they remain reasonably good in accumulating in the markets and the portfolios.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr.
Let me
Jo,
draw you out a little bit more on the auto ancillary space, Devin Bhai. Very rightly said, this has not performed as 2023 has panned out for a lot of mid cap stocks. Within the auto ancillary space, what are the two preferred bets on the long side?
Yes, I think importantly, I think we have been liking few companies, of course, but more importantly, India looks fairly consistent and convincing. This company has had the situation in past few years wherein the they scaled up on the valuation pretty ahead of time. And as a result of which, in last 12-15 months, I think the stock has remained sideways and corrected. I think most of the correction part on the pricing front is over. And as a result of which, I think the valuations have become reasonably, I think, as against, I think, the earlier expensive valuation. So this is one company which remains absolutely convincing to us from the investment point of view as well, largely catering to the four-wheeler space as far as the kit value is concerned in the supply side. And I think other company within the same promoter group, or maybe I think the promoter group which is slightly connected, but the fact remains, I think that they are also equally well placed is Minda Corporation. This company is largely catering to the two-wheeler space as against the four-wheeler space catered by the Minda. And I think this is where probably we find that there is an opportunity for earning in both these companies, at least I think in this particular period of time. There are a host of other auto ancillary companies, but these two companies have perfected the art of delivering the kit value to the end customer in a such a manner that I think at every successive year, I think you find the sustainability factor increasing for these companies, wherein they are supplying higher kit values to their end customers to different products. And I think with the R&D factor, which is working well with them, as far as I think the new product launches are concerned, which are embedded with the EMS at this point of time, I guess I think this is something which is very important for this kind of companies.
Mr. Choksi, just very quickly before pre-market open hits, is there one sector that will outperform in 2024? Which one would you pick?
Well, difficult calls actually. I think one sector to outperform. I guess I think the market probably has done away with the sectorial game. I guess I don't think that any particular sector is remaining at a discounted price. I guess I think the companies which are available at a discounted price in the valuation, they would be the ones I think which would be looked out for most systematically. And I alluded by putting two names across in the beginning about LDFC Bank and Reliance, where I believe that the size of the balance sheet is growing and growing very handsomely. And at the same time, I think the stocks on the pricing front haven't performed. So they're likely to perform. That is what I believe, including another company which has got listed in the in the 2023 year, and that is GeoFinserv. I guess I think this is one company where the opportunities are going to be on a rising side, and one could possibly look at the investing into this company. If you must look at, I think, a sector, then I would say that commodity would be the one where you have to keep an eye on, whether it is chemical commodity or the metal commodity. I believe that at least in the first half of the calendar year 24, you're likely to see a sharp movement on the upward side for most of the commodity companies. So that is where I think one could make momentum money as well in this kind of a market.
Right, sir. Okay. Do what you like. The markets will open only on their way up. The GIFT Nifty showed a negative 100 points and the Nifty's opened 62 points higher. Fresh record high, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations on the first day of 2024. 21,787 in front of you, 58 points higher. Now, what's driving this? No surprises. Tata Motors, 2% higher, 795. Remember, it's the day of volume sales for the entire auto sector. Tata Motors, already at a record high, is now gathering further momentum. Let's look at what the index heavyweights are concerned at the moment. HDFC Bank is flat, 1708. What is Reliance doing? Again, flat, 2584. What is Infosys doing? Flat, 1542. Okay, so it's basically Tata Motors, State Bank of India, 0.7% higher, 646.05. L&T 0.5% higher, 35.45. We'll let these rates settle as far as Market Watch is concerned on the index heavyweights. Let's just sort of widen our watch out list. Okay, BHEL in the FNO space. Again, congratulations. 200 rupees, it changes a digit. This is really important. 3.3% higher, it's the top traded counter in the FNO as of now. Again, IOC 3.9% higher, 134.90. Remember, on Friday we had a down day on OMCs. Crude oil is down for 3 days in a row. This is good, and probably investors have digested the bad news, which is that retail pump prices will most probably go down by 10 rupees a litre. This was media reports, but we'll discuss this a little later. What else is booming? Exide, 1% higher, 320.45. NTPC, 313.80, a percent higher. Let's look at NSE 500 and then get back to Devan Bhai immediately. Top gainers are IOC. What else? JBM Auto, 1500, 2.45% higher. Some other names I'd like to take. BPCL 455, 1% higher. What else is looking good? HPCL 405, 1.6% higher. And of course, SEAT Limited 2460, 1.3% higher. SGVN 9225, 1.4% higher. These are what prices are. We'll let them settle. The Nifty is a sensible 25 points higher, 21,757. Coming back to you, Devan Bhai, a huge amount of value being unlocked in the PSU space, especially the banking sector, the railway sector, and the defense sector. Any cause for worry there, or this is par for the course as far as bull market is concerned?
No, I don't think it's cause for worry. I feel that I think more importantly, companies are now probably suggesting that they will have relatively better time to execute. Up till now, say for example, railway companies, defense companies, they always had the potential, but they never had the consistency of the order inflow. Now the railways and the defense have started receiving the consistent order inflow from the government because of the higher allocation of the budget. 2023-24 financial year, the railway allocation is 2,40,000 crore. In my viewpoint, with the new government coming in 2024, I think the allocation would probably increase by at least 20%, if not more. Now, already the railway minister is on record saying that he would be spending in by 2030 11 to 12 lakh crores on expanding the railway, electrification of railway, new tracks, new trains. So all in all put together, I think these companies are expected to see higher amount of order inflow. However, that does not mean that in 1 quarter, 2 quarter, or next 2 quarters, the higher amount of execution would take place. Execution would be growing at a steady rate of 15 to 20% as much as the growth in the budget of the government is. So from that perspective, any valuations given ahead of time, many companies are quoting at 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 kind of P ratios. That is what is going to create a kind of a break, or it will create, I think, kind of a discomfort for those who bought at a higher price. That's where one will have to remain careful. So I don't think that I think we are talking about disappointment on any other front, except I think the market valuations which are going up in hurry.
Right. Mr. Choksi, I wanted to understand from you a few subsectors and how should one go about them. You already spoke about auto, banks, the heavyweight counters. Cement space, how would you be looking at this? This space usually gets into a positive zone in the first 3 months of the calendar year with heightened construction activity. And of course, we will be looking at a vote on account budget that will also talk about a lot of infrastructure story that it always does. Your thoughts?
Absolutely. I guess I think the commodity play and within that building material segment is definitely going to be an important one. You mentioned about cement. Yes, I agree with it. The tailwind is extremely strong. On one side, we have got higher demand situation due to construction activity, both on infrastructure as well as on the housing side. And on the other side, with the input cost remaining under control, the margins are likely to remain protected, both on the transportation side as well as, I think, the fuel consumption side for producing cement. Given that scenario, I believe that cement companies will have relatively better time. Fortunately, the larger companies are now having the capacity utilization averaged around 85% to 90%. And that's where the key lies, because if you have the higher capacity utilization, invariably, I think that results into the better profit performance for the company because of the evening out of the fixed cost. To a greater extent, I think we believe that cement would have continued upside in at least, I think, though it is cyclical, at least I think in 6 months from now, we should be seeing a stronger tailwind for the stock prices of as far as I think the cement commodity companies are concerned.
Fair enough. Well, on that note, thank you so much, Devinder, for being with us on the first day of 2024. And here's hoping that the year turns out to be a fabulous one for you, for your team, and also for your loved ones as well. Many thanks, and hope to see you many more often times to understand more about the markets going forward.
Thank you, Sakshi. Thank you, Shail. Wish you all the best.
Thank you. Let's quickly look at some of the prices that have started to take higher in the pre-open space. BPCL is the top mover on the Nifty index, up 2% at 459. Tata Motors 785. You can see a 0.6% surge here. Tata Consumer Products again a 0.6% surge, 1093 now for this one. Apollo Hospitals is moving 0.5% higher, 5741 currently for this one. Cipla is moving up 1252 currently for this one. Grasim 2145, it's up by 0.5%. Coal India is moving up again, it's 0.5% higher in trade as well. When we talk about the losers as well, let's see, there are about 8 losers as far as the Nifty index is concerned. Axis Bank, ICICI Bank, the top losers, 0.5% lower in trade. From the IT pack, it's HCL Technologies and Infosys. Again, both of them are about 0.25% down in trade. You also have HDFC Bank and Reliance Industries, slightly lower. Reliance Industries at 2580, 0.2% lower. HDFC Bank at 1706, 0.1% lower in trade. These are some of the heavyweight counters that have still not participated in the pre-opening space. But of course, as far as the sectoral moves is concerned, oil and gas, Nifty Next 50, PSU banks, small caps, mid caps, consumer durables, these are the movers. They're moving anywhere between 0.4% to 0.5% in trade today as well. Nifty 500 stocks, BHEL, the top mover, 2.8% higher now. BPCL follows, HPCL, IOC, so it's the oil and gas names that are taking away the limelight. Dalmia Bharat is in focus. Of course, brokerage houses' views coming in on that one too. On a positive side, 1.4% higher in trade. We'll do something very, very quickly. We'll take a short break, and when we quickly return in 30 seconds, Shail will take over with the pre-opening settling down sessions.
Darwin Platform Group of Companies is one of the fastest growing diversified Indian conglomerates with global footprints. It is setting up offices globally and tying up with companies across the globe from multiple sectors. The company has ventured into real estate and construction, stockbroking and finance, arms and ammunition, mining, airlines, and many other sectors.
Welcome back to Market Today. Ritesh Jain, lead research analyst at 5paisa.com, has joined us. A very good morning to you, Ritesh, and thank you from our hearts that on such a low volume day when only India is working across the globe, you found time for us. Thank you so much. How do you see January 1st panning out as far as the main indices are concerned and your 2 stock picks?
Firstly, very good morning, and wish you all a very happy and prosperous 2024, Shail sir. And of course, it's a bit difficult day to get up early in the morning today. But markets, markets, of course, when markets are on, that keeps us motivating to work on such days as well. Now, coming on to the data, I think if you look at the data still remains positive. FIs have started this December series with long positions of about 69-70%. And I think the high top, high bottom structure technically is also still continuing. Now, whenever markets trade at all-time high, so usually we take retracements of the previous corrections, which gives us a fair idea about where the next resistances could be. And recent that 2 days of correction which we got, 161.8% retracement of that correction is coming around 21,970, roughly around 22,000 mark. So I think in this week, market should try to test that 22,000 mark in next 2 or 3 trading sessions. So it's a buy and dip market. So intraday also, I think if we get any opportunity on any kind of declines towards 21,650, 700 range, take that as a buying opportunity, and ideally around 22,000, 21,970. That should be the range where some profit bookings on long positions should be done.
Ruchit, good morning and a happy new year to you.
Your
Your two stock picks for day one of the new year.
Very good morning, Sakshi. Wish you two a very happy new year. So first pick would be Samvardhana Motherson. So ideally, if you look at the data, then long formations were seen on Friday in Samvardhana Motherson, where after a decent consolidation phase, the stock has given a breakout technically with good volumes. In derivative segment, decent open interest rise was seen on the first trading session of this December series. So I think this would be one stock where one should look for buying opportunities at current levels with stop loss below 98 rupees. Expect targets around 108 to 110 levels. And DV's layer would be my second pick, where one can look for buying opportunities. Even here, there's a consolidation breakout after 1.5 years. So I think this is one stock which should do well today or in next few trading sessions. At current levels, one can go long with stop loss below 3,840, expecting targets around 4,000 to 4,020.
Okay, let's look at some other sectors that are doing phenomenally well. Tata Consumer for you, Ruchit, what is the stock telling you? Record high, and one of those fantastic franchisees that people like Sakshi really like, Starbucks.
Even I am one of the fan of that franchise. So the trend still remains positive. Yeah, there is no doubt about the market. When the market is going higher, if any stock is outperforming, that too at good volumes, that clearly indicates that in spite of the rally that has already been seen in the stock, there is still good enough of buying interest which has been happening. So if you look at volumes of Friday compared to daily average volumes, in spite of stock already having shown a run up, I think still there is a good volume which is going on. So I think this should keep the momentum intact. So it's better to ride this trend with a trailing stop loss method. Those who are having holding the positions, one can keep stop loss below 1,020, where a strong support base is seen now. And I think it's better not to look at where the trend would end, but rather keep trailing the stop losses higher as the stock moves higher even from current levels.
Okay. Ruchit, just 30 seconds to you before the markets. Okay, the markets are opening now. I think, Shail, you can take over.
Okay, it's a flat opening, Sakshi. Nifty's at 21,721, where it shut shop on Friday. 100-point downtick on Nifty Bank, 48,201. The Nifty IT has opened flat, but in the green is Nifty 500. Now let's just focus on what's happening in the index heavyweight space. Okay, Tata Motors is running away in top gear. 783, 0.5% higher. Okay, let's look at the index heavyweights now. The picture is not really pleasant. Infosys is down 0.1%, 1541, nothing to be worried about. Reliance is in the green, 2585. Let's look at HDFC Bank, 0.2% lower, 1704, nothing to be worried about. It's just that the first trades of the day are getting adjusted. Nifty is now 19 points lower, 21,718. FNO stocks, BHEL taking it away, fresh 6-year high here, 20165. 4.21% away. Remember, this is also the top traded counter on the FNO as of now. Idea Cellular, remember, it rose 22% yesterday. It's now down 1.5%, 1575, giving back some of those gains. Let's see how it goes. What else is in the green? IOC. Now this is interesting. 131.80, 1.4% higher. HPCL 404, 1.25% higher. PNB Gale, again high. Gale is at a record high, 164.20. Let's look at stocks that have hit record highs. It's Indigo, ladies and gentlemen, 2.4% higher, 3043. BEL 185.90, 0.4% higher. Grasim, Nestle, Torrent Pharma, Trent and McDowell's. These are the stocks that have hit new highs. One very quick look at NSE 500, and then we'll go to Ruchit, who will give you a view on BHEL. Ruchit, I'm just requesting you to look at BHEL for the moment. Okay, top gainers in NSE 500. We have Jubilant Pharma, we'll ignore this. Jyoti Labs, not really. Let's look at Birla Corporation. Sakshi had marked cement, 3% higher, 1483. All cargo 328, 1.8% higher. Okay, we'll wait for the market to settle 21 points lower on the Nifty. Ruchit, to you, one very quick view on BHEL as you see it.
So the broader trend still remains very strong. Whenever we are getting 1 or 2 days of decline, also we can clearly see some good buying interest happening over there. And the stock has also surpassed the previous swing high resistances, which were around 180, 185 range. So I think this momentum should continue. And if I take retracements on a bit longer term charts, the weekly and the monthly chart, then the probable targets are around 240. So I think still the stock has room to rally towards 240 in short to medium term. So if any existing positions are there, they should continue to ride on. The previous breakout of 180 to 185 resistance, which I was talking about, that should now turn as a support on any kind of dips.
Right, it's turning out to be an oil and gas day, and the energy space is clearly buzzing. Coal India now the top mover on the Nifty, 1.6% higher at 381. BPCL follows next, 1.16% higher in trade. On both of these stocks, Ruchit, what would you advise? Coal India first and then BPCL.
So Coal India, no doubt, no, we have seen a good trended up move in the stock. And interesting thing is that if you look at the recent up move from the month of September, the stock has not closed below its 20 days exponential moving average even once. There were in between small corrections, but that 20-day EMA acted as a support on every correction since the month of September. So I think till this average is intact, till prices are trading above this average support, the trend still remains positive, and that average support is now around 360 levels. So good till about 360. One can even initiate fresh longs in limited quantities over here. No expecting targets of 400 and beyond. And of course, I think no, within this entire PSU basket, I think the kind of outperformance that Coal India has shown recently, there are no signs of reversal on the of the trend. So until we get any kind of trend reversal signs, better not to go against the trend.
Okay, let's look at stocks where you have momentum. Auto ancillaries, remember, Devin Bhai marked this as a sector to watch out for 2024, not only January. JBM Auto, remember it's the bus makers that are doing really well. Last week you had news that the government is looking to replace 8 lakh diesel buses with electric vehicles. JBM Auto 7.6% higher, 1576. The PCR will also fire Electra Green Tech for you. This stock is also doing phenomenally well. I don't see the price in front of me. It will also come on your screens. What else is moving? Okay, Electra 1407, 4.5% higher. I also want to see what Sona Comstar is doing. This is something that was clicking fairly strongly over the last 2 or 3 trading sessions. Okay, Sona Comstar is now trading 641 flat. Okay, nothing much happening there. What else is buzzing? It's the PSU space, no surprise there. We have discussed BHEL. IRCTC 904, 1.8% higher. NFL 95, 24% higher. It's the defense space also moving fairly rapidly. Let's look at what's clicking here. I would imagine Hindustan Aeronautics 0.5% higher, 28.15. BEML 1.2% higher, 28.63. Ruchit, to you, your top pick in the defense space.
Yeah, Bharat Electronics looks quite interesting. I know we have seen a good price volume action in last 15-20 trading sessions. After a breakout above 150 mark, which was the earlier hurdle, I think the kind of volumes that has happened recently, I think this stock should continue its outperformance. So 200 should be the initial targets which this stock should rally towards. Over a longer period of time, I think this could give quite good returns from current levels also. So one can look for buying opportunities on BEL within the defense space. Keep stop loss below 170. Expect targets, first targets around 200 in that, and if that gets upward, something around 212 should be expected.
Okay, on BHEL, we've been looking this smart move come in, and that's perhaps also on the back of a news flow that NLC India has awarded 19,000 crores contract for Talabira power plant to BHEL, and that's perhaps something that's taking the price higher for the stock as well. What's also moving in the FNO space apart from BHEL is, 2 stocks that I'm looking at. One is Granules India, 4.2% higher in trade. Ruchit, could you look at this one? And of course, apart from it, Dalmia Bharat, like I was pointing out the cement space, Dalmia Bharat is also among the preferred list of stocks for a lot of brokerage houses who are betting big on the cement story. So granules first and then Dalmia Bharat.
Granules looks quite interesting within the pharma space. The price corrections which were there in between, we have not seen any kind of high volume sell off. But the weekly charts is indicating a high top, high bottom structure, and I think slowly and gradually one can expect levels around 421st, which were the highs in the month of November 2020. And then once that surpass, I think no retracements would indicate much higher levels and over medium, over short to medium term. So granules can be bought even at current levels, keeping stop loss below 380, but that should be a bit of positional trade, not from a very momentum or swing trading type perspective. So one can look for buying opportunities over here.
Okay. Let's look at these two stocks that are flying away. IRCTC from the railways back in the Nifty 500 basket. It's up by 2.5% now, 910 for this one. And the other space that's now clearly buzzing is apart from the OMCs in the oil and gas basket, a lot of names from the gas names like GAIL, Mahanagar Gas, these stocks are moving higher in trade. How would you look at these two spaces? One is the railways pack and IRCTC among that. And of course, in the gas space, how are you looking at the fresh momentum you're looking at in some of these stocks now?
So I think starting with railways, no, railway stocks have seen good price volume action in last week as well. Even if you look at Thursday and Friday, last couple of trading sessions, stocks such as RailTel, IRFC, even IRCTC has witnessed good volumes along with the price up move. So I think overall clearly indicates a good buying interest still in this sector. So in spite of the recent run up, I think still there is a enough room for the prices to rally in the short term. So IRCTC, of course, has been one of the laggard within the sector where the move has recently started, and the kind of volumes that have picked up in the month of December, I think this stock would be one of the could be one of the outperformance in the month of January. So IRCTC at current levels, or in case if we get any kind of dip towards 880 to 890 range, ideally that should be good dip to get into the stock. Keep stop below 840, one can expect target somewhere around 980 to 1000 rupees in the month of January. So this space looks interesting, and among the gas counters, GAIL has already been a good outperformer. A high top, high bottom structure. You look at price volume action is quite bullish. Even the RSI oscillator, the momentum readings are hinting at a continuation of the trend. But the only thing is that if you get into the stock at current levels, then the stop loss would be too far because the stock has already seen a run up, and major support, the 20 EMS support is coming around 145, 147 kind of range. So here I would advise if any existing positions are there, they should continue to ride this trend. But for fresh buying, wait for any kind of dips, and buy on dips strategy should be kept. In fact, Mahanagar Gas, the other name which you pointed out, that provides a good risk reward ratio at current levels. So one can look for buying opportunity, and MGL over here with stop below 1150 and expect target somewhere around 1300.
Okay, we are at 9:25. The first 10 minutes of the market are in front of us. It's a low volume day. Indices, the major ones, are taking a pause. Nifty is down 36 points, 21,700 for you. Nifty Bank at about 48,200 is down 100 points. IT is bleeding, 0.4% lower, 35,390 on the main index. But what is really doing well is the railway space led by IRCTC, 916.85, as also Electra Green, 1421. So it's railways, it's auto ancillaries, and it's the fertilizer pack led by the likes of RCF, led by the likes of National Fertilizer, and of course a fresh record high on Gas Authority. So low ticket, high beta is what is working. Ruchit, a very quick view on what do you think about IRCTC? Remember, this is the highest beta counter as far as the FNO is concerned, apart from Aurobindo Pharma, but IRCTC.
So, as we broadly covered the railway view, that overall sector seems to be quite bullish sectoral view, because even after this recent run up, we are witnessing a good price volume action over there. And even IRCTC has seen a relative underperformance if you look on a positional basis compared to other railway counters. But of late, since in the month of December, we witnessed a quite good rise in volumes in this counter. So clearly indicates that buying interest has been seen over there. Supports are a bit lower, so buy and dip strategy should be kept. Any kind of existing position should be held on, but any kind of declines towards 890 should be good levels to 890, 880 range should be good levels to get into the stock. And 840 has now become a very strong support base for ICTs. One can expect positional target somewhere around 980 to 1000 in this stock.
Okay, now a little bit more on IRCTC. This is the highest level that you see since October of 2021. This is a major landmark for this particular stock because October 21 was the month in which the company announced a 5-for-1 stock split. So let's look at how this particular counter will remain relevant over the next 1 week or so. Very strong traction coming in. Let's look at the volume for today on IRCTC. It's already 25.6 lakh shares in the first 7-10 minutes of trade, and this is about 50% of the 5-day average of 56 lakh shares. We'll keep an eye out on IRCTC. What else is buzzing? Sakshi, it's going to be a Sarkari day again. You have the likes of GSFC, 248.80. I shall stop mentioning Gas Authority because it's done enough, 168.10. Now Hindustan Aeronautics has started to move, 28.31. We have the likes of NLC India, 259.40. Hind Copper, RCF, you name it. Sakshi.
Absolutely. And one more trigger that's working in favor of the gas stocks is also the price cuts that the government has announced here. And I think domestic natural gas price for January has been cut to $7.82 per MMBTU versus $8.47 per MMBTU that used to be in December. And the other thing is that LPG commercial cylinder rates have been slashed by 1.5 rupees as well. So some more trigger coming in, on the prices front, and that's perhaps leading to this momentum. But Ruchit, I also wanted to understand from you, what's your view on the pharma names? Some of pharma names are actually picking up pace in the Nifty space. Let's talk about Dr. Reddy's Labs, Divi's Labs, especially these diagnostics majors. They are picking up pace, 0.5% higher for these. Cipla is up in trade as well. How would you look at the entire healthcare pack? And is there a particular segment that you're more positive on, for the new year in this space?
So yes, I think one should take a stock specific approach within the pharma names. The index is Nifty Pharma Index is trading at its all-time high. And if you look at the recent momentum, a slow and gradual up move has been seen. So I think overall we have seen that some of the pharma names have already formed a good bottoming out process where a long consolidation phase has been seen. DV's Lab would be one of the stock where we are keen to we are expecting a decent up move in the short to medium term. So I think this is one of the stock where a good base formation has been done. Volumes have started picking up, and once the stock starts sustaining above the 3950 4000 mark, so I think over a period of time this should do well. Lupin is another name where I think in this year we would see a continuation of the trend that we have seen in the last year. Although the stock has already rallied on the short-term charts, but if you look at mid to long-term charts, then still decent room is still left on the high side. So this is one of the stock where buy and dip approach should be kept within the pharma names. Any kind of declines towards 1250 mark, I think that should be a good buying opportunity within Lupin itself. So overall, the sectoral outlook is positive, but of course one needs to be very stock specific within the sector, where DV's Lab, Lupin's stocks such as even Sun Pharma within the large cap stakes, I think looks quite interesting, where the downside now seems to be very limited.
Okay. Two stocks are again picking up pace, and that's from the power pack. These powerful performing stocks of the past in 2023, NTPC Power Grid, again picking up pace, 0.4% higher. Do you still see strength on the charts for these two these two outperformers of the past, Rujit?
Yes, actually, if you look at the PSU names, I think one theme has been there, since the month of April, where we have started this bull run. that those PSU names which give consistent dividends, I think no, that's the theme which has picked up, and I think this could continue going ahead also. So both the names NTPC as well as Power Grid, the structure seems quite positive. We have seen, in the during last year, the stocks such as REC, PFC giving phenomenal returns in spite of in spite of the stock being overbought. So I think this is one segment where the trend could continue in the overbought zone as well. So of course, stocks such as Power Grid, NTPC, I think these are stocks where no one should not take any kind of contra bets, but rather any kind of consolidations or small corrections, if any comes, then I think one should look for buying opportunities there.
Okay, it's now 9:33. Let's pay a little attention to the Nifty. We've had the first 15 minutes of trade, and it's okay. The high for the day is 21,740, and the low is 21,685. Remember, the low of 21,685 is also the first intraday support level for the index. So for the moment, it's 40 plus 15. It's a 65-point range as far as the index is concerned. Let's drill a little deeper. Let's see what are the broader markets telling us after the first 15 minutes have lapsed on the first day of 2024. The advanced decline ratio is somewhere like 1450 shares in the green and 500 in the red, so roughly 3:1, which is really good. Of the 19 indices that we track for you, about 10 are in the green, so broader markets are on a firm footing. The Nifty Media Index is 1% higher, it's the top gainer. It's the PSU Banking Index comprising of 12 shares, which is up 0.6%, 5750. 10 of them are in the green, and that's a good sign for the PSU basket. What else is clicking? The small cap index is 0.5% higher. The mid cap index is also 0.4% higher. Advanced decline is very, very strong in the small cap index. Out of 100 shares, 74 are in the green. So that's again 3:1. Let's look at the NSE 500. Okay. 19,443. 333 shares are in the green. 160 in the red. So 2:1. That's the theatrics as far as the broader markets are concerned. What is sticking? Sakshi will have to take a view on Paytm with Ruchit. Days high 647. Any view here, Ruchit? Lots and lots of selling came over the last 2 odd weeks, but a bit of a uptick here now.
So there could be some pullback move because the momentum readings are quite oversold. We have seen a one-way correction from the high of around 920 till 600. So it's a quite oversold readings. But until we see any kind of resistance getting breached or any kind of price action, price up move supported by higher volumes, I don't think we should expect any kind of a big up moves in the stock. Now the 20 EMS of the stock is now around 675 to 680 range. So some pullback move could be there for up to 675, 680. But ideally that would be the test whether it manages to surpass that level, that too with good volumes. Then only I think some bottoming out process could be formed. But for now, I would take this up move. I would read this up move just as a pullback move within a downtrend.
All right. Since you talked about Paytm Shell, I'm going to also put in another new age tech stock, especially from the food delivery space out there for Ruchit to tell us, and that is Zomato. Interestingly, if one read the tweets of Deepinder Goyal last night, there were very, very interesting insights from there. Zomato is trading 0.4% higher at 124 right now. He said that Indians tipped as much as 97 lakh rupees to the delivery partners of Zomato all of yesterday. At one point in time at 8:26 p.m., we saw 140 orders per second going from Zomato. We also saw that, of course, biryani was the hottest, selling item on Zomato, during New Year's. So orders were flowing in every second, and definitely Zomato was celebrating right there. But for shareholders and for investors looking to buy Zomato at 124, is it a good buy?
So I would prefer to buy on any kind of dips rather than chasing at current levels. We have already seen a decent up move. The momentum readings are indicating that some sort of either price-wise correction, a minor price-wise correction, if not price-wise, then at least a time-wise correction could be seen in the short term. Now the support base for the stock is around 115 to 118. So if we get that stock around that 115, 118 range, then I think the risk-reward ratio could become favorable to go long on this stock. So keep a buy and dip approach. I think in case if you get any declines toward that support range, then it's better to go long at those levels.
Vese Sakshi, let me just tell you one thing. Neither Ruchit nor you can enjoy biryani, and both of you know why. Because both of you are vegetarians, but nevertheless, point taken. And I would also like to make a clarification. There is a major difference between biryani and pulao. Okay? With that in mind, let's take this discussion forward. Sakshi, over to you. Take a view on Zomato.
Absolutely. So, Ruchit, if one has to take a long-term view on Zomato, would you still, advise investors to buy at 124?
I think as if one is looking from a very longer term perspective, then gradual buying could be done where one can start investing at current levels, not exactly 100% of what one wants to buy, but keep a staggered manner approach that some quantity could be bought at current levels. And if we can get any kind of dips in the near future, no one can look for averaging at lower levels also. So I think keeping that strategy, one can even start investing in Zomato at current levels from a bit mid to long term perspective.
Okay. Let's take one view on the auto majors now. Some of them are picking up pace. Tata Motors is now the top gainer, 1.8% higher. 793 odd levels coming in for you, Ruchit. And of course, I can also see Hero Moto as among the top movers or top 10 movers on the Nifty as well. Bajaj Auto is down because sales figures have come in. And of course, they have disappointed in the month of December as well. So that's something that's led to a decline of about 0.4% odd as far as Bajaj Auto is concerned. But what would your take be on the entire auto space, Tata Motors specifically, which is the top mover today?
So it was a very good year, 2023 for the auto names, and I think selective auto
Absolutely.
stocks would continue to do well in the next year as well, because the kind of sales figures we have been witnessing month on month, and even if you look at the technical structure, the kind of volumes have been seen off late. So I think any kind of dips have come, then buying interest would clearly be continued in the auto names. Names such as Tata Motors, where outperformance was there, that is likely to continue going ahead. Some of the two-wheeler names such as Bajaj Auto, TVS Motor, Hero Motoco, I think that's one segment where in last 2 or 3 months we have seen a clear outperformance compared to other auto names. So I think this also would be one space where we should expect some decent returns going ahead. And no, as at the start of the show, you all were talking about the auto ancillaries. I think one should not forget to focus on auto ancillaries as well, along with the auto names, where I think good returns could be expected in short to medium term.
And auto ancillaries is what is sticking. Sakshi, remember we had focused on Motherson Sumi in the beginning of the show. Actually, Samvardhana Motherson, the name has changed. The company actually demerged its wiring business, which is also doing pretty well. Motherson for you, 104.70, up 1.8%. What else is clicking? I have a strong traction coming in on GNFC. Remember, it's the entire fertilizer pack which is doing phenomenally well. So GNFC is at 780, 740. Let's look at how the charts are structured as far as GNFC is concerned. Oh, 781 now cash. This is the price you last saw in May of 2022. So that makes it what? That is 1 year plus 5 months. So about 18-month high there. Actually, it's the complete fertilizer space on a roll. UPL is 595.20. Remember, this is one of those real underperformers on the Nifty. RCF is 166.30. And of course, you have a strong view coming in on national fertilizers as well. NFL was up 4% last time I checked. It's now at 98 rupees, moving very, very sharply. To you, Ruchit, anything that catches your fancy in the fertilizer space?
So you rightly pointed out that this entire sector is in momentum. So I think if one is looking from a trading perspective, one should expect some good momentum over here. RCF is one stock which is looking quite interesting. Last time the stock made a swing high in mid-December around 161, 162, which has been surpassed now. So I think RCF is one stock which could do really well from current levels. One can expect levels maybe around 190, 200 as well. If this trend continues. Even GNFC is looking quite interesting. The stock is heading towards its previous all-time high, which were around 840, 850 kind of range. So I think the entire momentum would continue in this entire sector, but these two stocks could stand to outperform.
Right. Shell, your favorite space is buzzing again. That's the PSU banking space. And we have Bank of Baroda, Canara Bank, PNB, Punjab and Sindh Bank, all upwards of 0.5 to 0.8% up in trade. And, we're looking at even the smaller ticket PSU banks like Bank of India, UCO Bank, Indian Overseas, Indian Bank also picking up pace right now. Rujit, which is the strongest counter on charts from the small ticket PSU banks?
So PNB and Canara Bank, these two banks looks quite interesting. PNB already has seen a good outperformance. The high top, high bottom structure is there in the stock. So I think that should continue going ahead. Any kind of dips towards 92 or 90 range, I think that should be used as a buying opportunity. So I won't advise to chase over here, but buy and dip strategy should be kept. In terms of relative outperformance, I think PNB could tend to outperform within the PSU banking space. And Canara Bank too looks quite interesting. We have seen that whenever there have been some price declines, there is no much volumes on during sell-off, and the price up moves are getting supported by good volume. So 410, 415 has been the higher bottom where the stock has recently made. So here also, I think the downside seems to be limited. So these would be true of the PSU banking names where one can expect a decent up move.
Okay, and what should one do with SBI now, which is at 643 levels, 0.2% higher in trade?
So clear a buy and dip support should be kept. If one is looking from a mid-term perspective, then even at current levels, one can start buying over here. And if we get any dips towards 620, 625 range, that should be a good range where stock could form a swing low over there. So buy some quantity at current levels, and any kind of declines towards 625 should be used as a opportunity to add more to the same. I think no, still a good amount of up move is left in SBI going ahead. Positionally, 670 to 680 is where one can expect targets in SBI.
Okay. Sakshi, I'd like to point out the broader market statistics. Let's look at NSE 500 and stocks where you see a lot of momentum. BHEL today is the top trading counter at 9:45. The half an hour is past. About 664 crores worth of transactions have happened. You've mentioned the reason behind it. The counter up about 4.7%. Idea Cellular, 508 crore worth of transaction happened in the first 30 minutes. The counter is up 7%. Now comes Tata Motors. So I'm just trying to point out where the market action is at the moment. It's only in low ticket, high beta. So Tata Motors about 325 crores. This is the first Nifty stock to appear at the third position in the top traded list. Then we have IRCTC, 907 rupees, 2.2% higher. About 322 crores worth of transactions happened. Olectra Green. Ruchit, I'd like you to take a view on this one. 5% higher, 1407. I'm sure this is a record high. 299 crores. Remember, this is the electric vehicle bus maker from down south. Then you have IRFC, GAIL, Yes Bank, HFCL, National Aluminium, Hindustan Copper. So it's the entire top traded list is dominated by low ticket, high beta items, primarily from the Government of India space, the PSU sector, which is buzzing with huge gains, huge volumes, and huge trading activity. Ruchit, to you for Olectra Green.
So setup is quite interesting. We have seen some good consolidation since the month of July. During the end of July, the stock was trading around 1300 levels. We have seen since the month of July, prices have seen a broad consolidation, still around 1400 levels. So a good amount of time-wise correction has been done in the stock. Friday, the stock gave breakout above the 1300 mark, that too with very good volumes compared to average volumes. And today, a follow-up move clearly has been seen. So I think this looks quite interesting. The stock could continue its rally. The only hurdle that would come in the short term would be around 1460, where July 2023 highs were there. So 1460 would be the first hurdle, and if that gets surpassed, I think the stock has potential not to go higher even towards 1600, 1580 kind of levels in the short term. So it looks quite interesting. Any kind of if any positions are there, long positions should be held on. Even I think any kind of minor intraday dips if we get, then buy and dips approach should be kept in electric intake.
Okay. Ruchit, there's another space that's buzzing, and that's the realty space. I wanted to take your opinion. Of course, 2023 has been a great year for the real estate stocks as well. We've seen, of course, the index touch record high levels. Many of the stocks within the index also see substantial sales, record numbers of flats being sold, even the premium flats as well. Those were the limelight. How does one go about the real estate stocks? Anything that you think can is worthy of being called a stock of the year from the real estate space?
So I think, as you rightly said, along with those figures, if you look at Nifty Realty Index performance, then it was one of the top performers, in the year of 2023, where compared to 2022 closing, the index itself was up by 80%. So Nifty PSE and Nifty Realty, these were two the top performers with gains around 80% in this year. So this
Hmm.
clearly indicates the trend still remains strong. But no, I think from a risk reward perspective, because we have already seen a good run up, it's better to wait for some kind of dips if we get in the near future. So buy and dips strategy should be kept rather than chasing now at higher levels. There's no sign about any kind of downtrend now, but within an uptrend, if we get any kind of time-wise consolidation or corrections, then I think stocks such as DLF is there, Godrej Properties are there. No, these should be looked into where even Loda, if I would add, no, where recently volumes have started picking up, the high top, high bottom structure has been there. So I think these would
Hmm.
be some of the names where clear outperformance could be there going ahead also. But as I said that already the index is up by 80% in last calendar year. So it's better to wait for some either time-wise correction where some consolidation could be there, or a bit of price-wise correction where buy and dips strategy should be kept when the risk reward ratio becomes favorable. Better to enter over there.
Okay. We have to thank you, Ruchit, but before we let you go, two picks for the new year, 2024. If you have to take out, which could be perhaps say multi-baggers from here on, which would those stocks be?
So I would first bet on Samadhana Motherson. We have talked a lot about the auto ancillary space. Even this was one of my trading pick today morning. But if we talk from a positional perspective or for 2024's perspective, then I think the stock has good risk reward ratio at current levels also. We can expect levels somewhere around 124 to 127 no, in the stock. So Samadhana Motherson would be one pick for this year. If no one has to buy, one can go long at current levels. And within the chemical and fertilizer space, Deepak Fertilizer looks quite interesting. Good rounding bottom has been placed, although the breakout would be above 720. But I think if one has to preempt, then one can start buying at current levels. And whenever we see a breakout above 720, one can look to add more positions of the over there. So, no, these will be two stocks where I think if one is looking from this calendar year perspective, these stocks should give good returns even from current levels.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Rujit, then for being with us on the first day of the new year.
You.
Here's wishing you a very happy and a prosperous new year to you, to your team, and to all your loved ones as well. And see you, most often now on Market Today to help all our viewers pick out stellar picks as well for their portfolios, for a profitable portfolio that is. Many thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Sakshi. Thank you, Shail sir.
All right, let's get back to the markets right now. Nifty 500 is where the action is. Clearly, all cargo logistics now the top mover as far as the broader index is concerned, up 6% higher. BHEL we already marked 4.5% up. You also have the fertilizer names as marked by Shell early. So you have Gujarat Narmada Valley now 4% higher. You have GSPL up by almost 4% higher. Avanti Feeds, that's the one that's moving in. Gujarat State Fertilizers is moving up too. So the action is now clearly in these particular stocks as far as the of Nifty 500 basket is concerned. Of course, in the Nifty basket, you have the energy names, Coal India, BPCL, that's moving up in trade. And now some of the auto names like Tata Motors consistently, is moving up higher. Grasim is now picking up pace almost 2% higher. Shell?
Yeah, Sakshi, it's 9:52. Let's look at the Nifty as well. We've been ignoring this index all since morning. Now it's down just 6 points. So the first support level, which was at 21,685, has held, and the index at 21,726 is now marking an uptick. I know I sound like a broken record, but it's the PSU theme that is doing phenomenally well. Now you have moves coming into the gas part of the government of India. Sakshi had already marked Gas Authority. I'll mark Indraprasth Gas for you, 423.70 coming in front of you on fairly decent volumes of about 3,95,000 shares. Remember, this is the third day of gains as far as Indraprasth Gas is concerned, and at the moment up about 1%. What else is clicking? Sakshi, we have PNB. It's now at 97.10, and this is, of course, when you look at the broader structure of PNB, is at the highest level since February of 2018. So that marks it a 6-year high on PNB. And clicking along with that PNB is Bank of Baroda. This one you've already marked. A record high here, 234.55. 2345. Wow, what a number right there in front of you. This is a sequence that's coming in. Also buzzing in trade is from the telecom sector, Indus Towers. Ruchit is no longer with us, but let me just look at the chart of Indus Towers and point out to you what's happening there. 203.80. This is the second day of a very, very strong move, and the price that you see on 203.90 is the highest since November of 2012. So a fresh 12-13 month high coming in, and the usual suspects from the how should I say, the railway pack are now moving fairly strongly in sync. You have TexRail, which was pointed out by Mayuresh Joshi as one of the strong stocks to look at from a portfolio point of view. You have a record high on RailTel, 366, 8.2% higher. We've discussed IRCTC. IRCON at 174.45 is 1.75% higher, and TexRail is the second best performing railway stock out of the 20 that I watch, up 4.5% at 178.40. Sakshi, what are you watching?
Well, Shell, it's definitely the performers of the past coming back. So we do have all the PSU banking names that are shining bright, like I pointed out. So that's the space that's picking up pace clearly now, up 1%. So the Nifty PSU banking names are definitely the ones that investors are clearly going gung-ho even in 2024. Bank of Baroda 1.5% up, PNB 1.5% up, Canara Bank, Bank of Maharashtra, Union Bank, State Bank of India, UCO Bank, all of them up in trade in today's trading session. Oil and gas we discussed. It's the broader markets that's not leaving any stone unturned, continuing to go higher. 0.6% higher for the mid cap 100 index even now. However, experts have been constantly saying that this space has run up pretty sharply. The Nifty mid cap and the small cap 100 index almost 40-50% higher in the previous year, but they're still moving up very, very strongly. You're also seeing some metal names now come up, even FMCG names like ITC and Nestle. Nestle right now is at 26,776. So there is no stopping for this one too. ITC at 465. You're also looking at the defensives move up higher in trade. Auto names apart from Tata Motors, I can also see Maruti now up by 0.2% odd. So of course, in the broader markets and the smaller ticket stocks, like you always point out, Shell, fertilizers and chemicals, you have PSU banks, you have the PSU stocks, you have the railway stocks. These are the ones that investors are clearly going after, even in today's trading session. So let's start winding down the markets now, Shell. And we will, of course, show very special visuals to all our viewers when we end this show. So stay tuned for that. Before that, I'll just quickly mark out some of the names as the top movers on the Nifty. Nifty is flat at 21,730 currently, absolutely flat in trade. It could be that you could see the Nifty ending today's trading session in the green, because you can see the Nifty Bank now up by 0.01%. So it's come up into the green, 48,296 coming in. A lot of buying happening at these lower levels. So the Nifty could be looking at a green ending today. Coal India 2.7% higher. Tata Motors up by 1.8%. Grasim up by 1.6%. UPL 1.4% higher. BPCL and Hero MotoCorp. These are the top 6 gainers as far as the Nifty movers are concerned. On the downside on the Nifty, again, you do have stocks like M&M. Eicher Motors not participating, Bharti Airtel, HUL, Britannia, LTI Mindtree, and NTPC. These are the stocks that have slipped into the red. Nifty 500, All Cargo, BHEL, Gujarat Alkalis and Chemicals, Imami, Avanti Feeds. These are the top movers. FNO names, BHEL, Granules, Exide, and LIC Housing Finance also moving up in trade. Shell?
Yeah, Sakshi, just a couple of points I'd like to mention. I'm looking at volume buzzers because those show where traders are active with the rise in price. JBM Auto, 1645, taking it away. It's the electric theme vehicles running across the board as far as markets are concerned. 1647, about 5,34,000 shares are traded, which is 5 times the daily volume. And remember, it's just 10 a.m. So abhi to pura din baki hai. Then you have Electra, which we've discussed. BHEL, already 1x volume, which is substantial. And of course, the likes of LIC Housing Finance are now clicking strongly, 3.6% higher, 555.55, about 1x volume already in front of you. So these are the stocks that you can look at. And as we said in the morning, chota ticket or high beta, that's only the theme that's running across the board. And the PSU stocks are really embracing it. So PNB, when you look at 9730, 1.6% higher, you have a very, very strong view coming in on Canara Bank and Bank of Baroda. Sakshi, I can go on and on, but let's end the show on a very bright note, which is the launch of the ISRO vehicle.
Absolutely, Shell. The Indian Space Research Organization, in its first space mission of 2024, has launched the X-ray polar meter satellite, the XPOSat, today at 9:10 a.m. The satellite got launched, and it's been a successful launch as well. After Chandrayaan 3 and Aditya L1 mission by the ISRO, this is the next historic step towards the space exploration that the country has been aiming for. Through this satellite, India will now become the second country in the world after United States of America to send a specialized astronomy observatory to study black holes and neutron stars in our galaxy. So that's the mission for which ISRO has launched this. It's been a successful launch already. We can see that ISRO has stated that PSLV has a success rate of 96.7%. in just a few minutes after placing the satellite in the desired orbit. Out of the 60 vehicles, 58 missions have already been successful. So ISRO has definitely begun 2024 in style with the launch of PSLV C-58 or ExpoSat mission as well. And of course, this will take India to another step ahead in space as well. And with these bright visuals that are coming up on your screens, a very, very successful launch that we've already seen. And of course, within minutes, we will get to see updates coming in from ISRO as to, whether the mission has been accomplished with the placing of the satellite and the observatory in the desired orbit or not. So we will continue to give you all of those updates as well on Business Today. And with that, we will wrap up this special edition. Many thanks for tuning in, but do stay tuned. Action continues on the other side on your screens.
3, 2, 1, 0. Lift off normal.
Bright morning of the New Year's Day made brighter by a majestic liftoff. PSLV C-58 carrying India's X-ray polarimetric satellite towards its destination.
जी हाँ, इस वर्ष का प्रथम प्रमोचन श्रीहरिकोटा के प्रथम प्रमोचन मंच से PSLV C-58 का हमने सफलतापूर्ण उत्थापन देखा, उद्दिष्ट दिशा की ओर ले जाता है। इसकी पुष्टि हो चुकी है, ऊष्मा कवच को यान से पृथक कर दिया गया है।
Second stage performance normal.
अब इसके पश्चात हम आपको अध्यक्षीय संबोधन के लिए ले चलते हैं।
So happy new year to all of you. So on 1st January 2024, yet another successful mission of PSLV has been accomplished. PSLV C-58 has placed the primary satellite ExpoSat in the desired orbit of 650 kilometer, 6-degree inclination, and we'll be waiting for the exact orbital parameters that will just now come. And we are also waiting for the satellite to have its solar panel deployed. That also will come in a few seconds from now. From this point, the orbit of the PSLV 4th stage will be reduced to a lower orbit, where the upper stage of the PSLV, which is now described as POEM, PSLV Orbital Experimental Module, will carry out experiments with 9 of the onboard payloads. And that will take some time. And we will come back to listen to all of that, what happened in the POEM experiments little later. Meantime, let me also announce the orbit that has been accomplished, which is available through various routes. It shows excellent orbit, and the deviations from the targeted orbit is hardly just 3 kilometers in circular orbit of 650 kilometer, and inclination is 001 degree, which is one of the very excellent orbital condition. And yet another announcement is the solar panel of the satellite also has been deployed successfully. So with this, the new year has begun with the launch of PSLV. We have an exciting time ahead. Much before telling all of that, let me invite the mission director to have its words.
Darwin Platform Group of Companies is one of the fastest growing diversified Indian conglomerates with global footprints. It is setting up offices globally and tying up with companies across the globe from multiple sectors. The company has ventured into real estate and construction, stockbroking and finance, arms and ammunition, mining, airlines and many other sectors.
In today's rapidly evolving business environment, when risk is omnipresent, managing risks is no longer just about ticking a few boxes. Businesses need to maintain a panoramic view of risks to stay ahead of the curve. Join us to explore how organizations can rethink risk to unlock new possibilities and become fit for future. At PwC presents De-Risking the Future in collaboration with Business Today.